I'm Kara Warme, and I'm running for Story County Supervisor. I appreciate the Ames Chamber of Commerce hosting these interviews, and thank you for watching. My vision is for Story County to be better tomorrow than it is today, and I think we can do that working together. A little bit about me. I live east of Ames in rural Story County. My husband Brian and I have been married for 17 years. We are blessed with 2 daughters. Emma attends Ames Middle School and Skylar is a 5th grader at Gilbert Intermediate. Brian and I met at Stanford University, where I earned an industrial engineering degree. I also have an MBA from Iowa. I worked for 20 years in telecommunications and marketing leadership. Most recently, I was a business executive, helping senior leaders at some of the largest telecom companies in the US. I'm running for supervisor because I want to better connect our communities and get things done. I'd like to see us go from disconnected to connected with positive dialogue, mental health resources, broadband connections, and strong economies in each of our communities. I've never held public office, but I think the best approach is to listen to and learn from people. I will ask a lot of questions. I'll seek every piece of data that I can, try to understand the different sides of these complex issues, and then do something. Move forward with urgency and do what's best for the people of Story County. Like you, I'm tired of political divisions, and my commitment to each voter in Story County is to be above the fray, to work hard to bring people together across the entire political spectrum, and to make progress for our county. I'd be honored to have your vote on November 8th, or any time until then, because early voting has started. There are 15 cities in Story County and our unincorporated rural areas, and I think it's critical that the Board of Supervisors is representing the full breadth of the county and not just the population centers. My vision is that each of those communities would be a destination and that we would work to be connecting the communities within the county. So that means partnerships with our mayors and city councils and with our business owners, and it means physical connections, roads and bridges, broadband lines, bike trails, just helping each of those communities to thrive. Agriculture is at the heart of who we are in Iowa and drives our economy. So when we're making policy decisions, it's critical that our growers and producers are at the table and we understand the impact that the choices we're having will make on agriculture. And as I'm out campaigning, something I hear about the most is the urban fringe plan. And it is really important that we protect property owners' rights and maintain our tax base in our rural areas of Story County. So the current supervisors have set a priority of pushing all the development into municipal areas. I don't agree with that. There's a limit that was set against the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Committee to limit to 3 homes per year over the next 20 years to be built outside of municipalities. And I think that's short-sighted. I think businesses and families are attracted to Story County for those unique rural living opportunities. And I think where it's the right opportunity, we want to be open to that. Yeah, housing is a basic need and everyone's talking about how we need more of it. So beyond what I talked about with the urban fringe plan and that limitation on rural housing growth, what I'm hearing across the county is how difficult we make it for people to build. More difficult than other counties. Even one attorney told me more difficult than New York City. So I would love us to take this time to review the ordinances and policies that we have and compare them to like-sized counties, to other areas. Look for that balance between oversight and efficiency in welcoming builders and development into our county. Another key piece is rental. Many of our Story County residents are renting, and we need to make sure that we have a variety of options that's reasonable at what their income is and that meets different styles and needs. And for those who are struggling the most, we have rental assistance programs, and I've heard reported out at Board of Supervisors meetings that those funds are going unused. People are coming in and apply and would qualify, but they don't complete the paperwork or the process. Again, it makes me wonder, what is that process? What help is available? How difficult have we made it? What languages is it available in? Who's there to answer questions? What can we do to make sure that those dollars that have been set out to help those families most in need are being utilized so that people have housing and can move on to those next steps of finding long-standing work and investing in our community. I'm really glad you asked about broadband. 1 in 4 homes in Story County doesn't have a broadband connection. We lag the state of Iowa by more than 10 points. And we don't want to lag Iowa on anything in Story County. We set the way here, right? We're the innovators. So Governor Reynolds has set a priority of broadband access for everyone in Iowa. And at a state level, we've made great progress, and we're up to 88% of homes connected statewide. But in Story County, we went backwards in the last 3 years. And I think that it's something that everyone's talking about, but it's time to do something about. I spent 20 years working in telecom. I was at AT&T when they were building out their original fiber network. I know the language and the people at the carriers across the country to make progress here. So we can utilize the map that was just collected at the state level, identify those discrepancies between where carriers are reporting that they have coverage and what's really available to our households. We can also look at that affordability aspect. You don't go backwards without people who had coverage not having it now. So each of our human services agencies and our partners through Asset, who are helping families meet basic human needs, do they have the information on the existing programs for discounted and free broadband service? Can we help families get that where they need it? Also, competition is what's going to help with the prices on broadband. You know, it's not just a rural issue in Story County. You can't go backwards if we're not struggling in our population centers. And I hear that so much in Ames too, the lack of options. So we want to welcome those overbuilders. We've had some of that in the last couple of years, and that helps. And where we don't have, multiple carriers in our population centers, we want to work with the carriers to bring them in. We are blessed with great childcare providers across the county, and that's so important for parents to be able to work, and because every child deserves access to safe and enriching childcare regardless of income and background. We need that. So I'm really appreciative of the work that the Boys and Girls Club is doing in Ames and in Nevada and wanting to grow. It was really fun this summer having George Niang back in Ames raising money for the Boys and Girls Club. We spent time together. He's excited about what the Boys and Girls Club is doing, and he's excited about my vision for Story County and my passion for kids in our communities, and he's supporting my campaign. I think that one of the things that we really need to keep in mind is workforce when we're looking at childcare. So as I toured Little Cubs in Nevada and Child Serve here in Ames, in both cases I heard about the challenge to hire workers for childcare. So we can open and build additional centers, and I like the work the Board of Supervisors is doing through their economic development partners to add on to our childcare options across the county. Then we need to be able to staff those. And so that's what brings that whole loop of economic development into focus. Do we have housing that's appropriate? Do we have the amenities and quality of life that attracts those young people to come and be here and choose to work in Story County and provide that child care that we need? So I think the supervisors provide the vision and the energy for economic development. I love the unique partnership that we have, hiring the Ames Chamber of Commerce to help us with economic development across the county. And the Chamber has the experts in economic development. What we need is the energy and the urgency. So how can we make sure we're doing as much as we can, as fast as we can, to help Story County be better for the future? Part of that is communicating what we're doing, a marketing campaign of how great it is to be in Story County and the great economic development work that's already going. But the time value of money is real. So if we think of that last 2 years and all the ARPA dollars that were coming into our county, I like the decision that the supervisors made to take applications from our cities and from other agencies and spread those funds out. My concern is the time that it took and how that money doesn't go as far now as it would have a year ago or 2 years ago in the high inflation environment where we are. So how do we bring that private sector approach, understanding that there's always competition? There are other counties that want our households and our businesses, and so we want to bring that smile, that welcome. I would be there as a supervisor talking to businesses who are considering coming, at our ribbon cuttings, welcoming business into our community, helping families feel proud of where they live and where we're headed as a county, and providing that vision and urgency to economic development.